Hello everybody. I warned you I would do this. I think in the last video I said I still have this other Collier case and I'm gonna use it. And by golly I did. I initially had this on that cardboard rack stand that I built that I was so proud of. And because my intention was for this bottom row to be controllers, things with buttons that have to be pressed, it needed to be at the bottom, not only for access but also for stability, which put this at the top, which was kind of a problem because this is the core, if you will, of my system. This is where grids, a lot of my rhythm clocking and the oscillators that I use the most are all in here because this was going to be the case, if I only had one, the case that I could take on the road with me that's got the most essential stuff in it. And having my most essential stuff way up here where I had to actually stand up to reach it, that was significantly disadvantageous. It also blocks my view of Tinkerbell, and it was teetering. Well, it probably would have been okay, but I just didn't have the confidence to feel comfortable with this case up so high. And I tried, I used a bungee cord and wrapped it around the handle and latched it to the shelf, and that actually probably would have worked. But I didn't feel good about it, so I slapped together a riser for this to rest on, and there's a piece of wood under here to hold it at an angle, but it's taking up a lot of desk, a lot of tabletop real estate, and I don't know how good I really feel about this. Maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe I'll learn to love it. Or maybe I'll come up with a different solution. We'll see. For right now, these spaces are accounted for. I've ordered the modules, but they haven't arrived yet. What did arrive is this. I bought this off of eBay. This is the Nonlinear Circuits Neuron. A black, shiny black module shrouded in mystery. I don't know exactly what it does, and it's intriguing. There is a Modular Addict demo video about the neuron. Well, actually the double neuron. This is just one neuron, but they work the same as far as I know. They called it a simple circuit that makes a mess of CV. So I guess it's mainly for processing CV, though it will work on audio, and for the purposes of demonstration, that's what I'm going to do. The top section is actually separate from the bottom section. It's 2 modules for the price of 1. The neuron has 2 control knobs, 3 inputs, and 1 output, and what it does is it mixes these 3 outputs with a kind of a strange rectified signal, and it blends them and mashes them into a paste which comes out here. The bottom section is a difference rectifier. It's got plus and minus inputs as well as a plus and minus output. It compares plus with minus and it outputs the difference between them. And each one of these inputs seems to behave differently, and I've yet to figure it out. This is still pretty new. I've only had it for a day. But anyway, let's get started. I'm using a splitter to split these signals so that we can monitor the clean version as well as route them into the neuron without me having to do lots of patching while the tape is rolling. Anyway, the yellow wires are a sample
5, 4
of that lady talking. The green wires are the triangle wave from Lifeform's oscillator 1. The white wire is the sine wave from oscillator 2. And then I also have Lifeform's LFO here on this purple wire, which looks blue on the camera for some reason. But trust me, it's purple. Anyway, let's listen first to the neuron. I'll plug in our sample of the talking lady.
5, 6, 7.
And with one input, especially with vocal
10,
material,
9, 8, 7. 6,
it's like a
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A distortion,
0.
a digital distortion.
Start.
The
1,
response
2,
knob
3,
kind
4,
of,
5,
it
6,
affects the level of
8,
the effect,
9, 10.
sort of like a volume. And then the sensitivity knob sets the threshold at which the clipping takes place.
4,
As you turn it down,
0. Stop.
there's more distortion because the threshold is lower.
2,
As you turn it up,
4.
there's less distortion
5,
because
6,
the threshold
7,
is higher, of
8.
course. Now, if I plug in a steady oscillator, response feels more like a volume control, and the sensitivity is like a pulse width for the resulting square wave.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Combining signals.
0.
Woo! Now that is a nasty noise. Presumably, this will be much more useful with CV, and I intend to patch it up and see how that works later. But for now, there's just this. Okay, the difference rectifier section, I have the positive
7,
panned hard left
10,
and the negative pan hard
10,
right.
9, 8.
And with one
7,
input,
6, 5.
it gives you
4,
this nice kind of
3,
stereo
2,
thickening
1,
because it
0.
separates the positive and negative sides of the wave to the
Stop.
two
1,
channels.
2,
If I
3,
add
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
add an oscillator on the
10,
other positive input,
9.
it just mixes
8,
them together.
7, 6,
This first
5,
negative input
4,
is
1.
very rude.
0.
The second one
Stop. Start. Stop. 1, 2.
gives you that
3,
kind of ring
4,
modulation effect.
5,
And I
6,
noticed
7, 8.
if I plug in a lower
9,
frequency
10,
CV,
10, 9, 8, 7.
then it becomes a
6,
panning
5,
VCA,
4, 3,
which is very
2,
interesting.
1, 0. Stop. Start. Stop. 1,
Listen to it
2,
swirling
3,
from right to
4,
left.
5.
It's not very
6,
clean,
7, 8, 9.
but still,
10.
that's something.
10, 9. 5, 4, 3, 2. One, 2.
Well, anyway, there's the
4,
neuron.
5, 6, 7, 8.
A very
9,
interesting
10,
and unusual module. The price was right.
9.
The functionality was interesting. And I had the space to fill, so I decided to get that. Thanks to my patrons for fronting the money, enabling me to afford all of this stuff. And thanks to you for watching me play with it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time.